When was the last time you did something for the first time? This is a question that I often ask in my podcast, which up until now has always been in German. Today I thought I'd produce an English episode simply because of the fact that due to popular demand, I'm thinking more and more about actually reproducing my German podcast into an English version. If you're interested in that, then give me a thumbs up already. Okay. Um, this episode today, I'm actually filming, so I don't know whether I'm going to put this on YouTube or on my homepage or whatever, but I might take a few excerpts just to market this podcast, so to speak. But why is this podcast so special today? Simply because today is the 18th of August, 2022, which means that today, exactly 4 years ago, my mother passed away. So maybe you're thinking now, okay, why is Gary doing a podcast on this day when he should be thinking about his mum? Which is a legitimate question, of course. Over the last few years, I've taken a lot of consideration into the question, why do we grieve? Why do we grieve that people have left us? And what is it about life that death can teach us? Interesting question, don't you think? That's what this podcast is going to be about today. So, what is it then that death can teach us about life? Well, firstly, we all come into life of no free will of our own. Yeah, so none of us decided that we wanted to be here. We were just born. Now, everybody knows the biological background of how we get born, okay? So I don't need to go into detail on that. But the question is, why were we born? And why are you living the life that you are now living? And the thing is, life is given to you for no apparent reason at first, okay? And we do absolutely nothing for it. We don't pay for it. Nobody pays for it. It's just given to us. The unfortunate thing is it gets taken away from us as well. And just as easy as it can be given to us, it can be just as easily taken away again. Most of us are lucky enough to have a long life, a fulfilled life. And we leave this world, we leave our body after many, many happy years. We're blessed to create families. We're blessed to bring up children. We're blessed to have grandchildren or even great-grandchildren. We're blessed to travel around the world. We're blessed to do wonderful things with wonderful people in wonderful places. But some of us aren't. Some of us get taken very early. Some of us leave this life again extremely early. From the day we're born to days where we have accidents or somebody does something stupid. The question is, why is that? And it's a question that I've given a lot of consideration to over the last few years. And if you know me personally, if you grew up with me in my hometown of Cheltenham, which I was there last week on a visit, then obviously you know I'm British. But I've lived in Germany since 1994, and I speak German on a regular basis. So if you think, oh, bloody hell, Gary's that English guy from Cheltenham, he speaks with a German accent. Yeah, you're right. I do sometimes. And that's simply because I live in Germany. So be fair with me and give me a chance. I might have to think every now and again before I find the right words to tell you in this video. /podcast. Be patient with me because yes, I do speak German almost every day and I speak very little English these days. Now my own kids are grown up and they've moved on. Tom's in the police force, Kim's just joined the army, so I don't have them around me to speak much English these days. So bear with me, I have to think about what a German word is called in English, okay? I'm holding the microphone as well because I'm actually sat on a mountain today in southern Germany, in Bavaria, and I go to this place every year since my mother passed away. The reason behind that is that I was here when I got the bad news that my mother was going to leave us quite soon. And that was 2018. It was the beginning of August. I was on holiday and I was walking here, and my dear sister Nick broke the news to me that even though I'd seen my mother a week before, and she seemed reasonably healthy, although I knew that she had cancer. She'd been fighting with cancer for 5 years. My direct family were the elite circle of people who knew that she was poorly. Even my children didn't know she was poorly. It was something that my mother wanted, and it was something that we respected. And so that's why I come here every year, just to reflect and just to think, and to fulfill a promise that I made to her when she died. And it's an impulse that I'd like to give you. I'd like to give all of you, okay, regarding grief. And just to invite you to think about what grief really is, what it does to you, what it does for you, and what it does to the person you're grieving. I last really saw my mother on the 17th of August 2018, and she was in a hospice, the Sue Ryder home in Leckhampton in Cheltenham. Wonderful people, wonderful place, really fantastic. Words cannot describe how grateful I am for this place and the people who work there. It's just sensational. And we knew that the next day was going to be the day. Sometime that day, that was going to be the day. So my mother was already had her eyes closed. She hadn't opened them for a long time, and for several hours I'd been there, and she hadn't opened her eyes. She hadn't spoken or anything like that. She was already half gone, so to speak. And yeah, I had tears in my eyes, and yes, I cried. Yeah, of course I did. But I made her a promise on that day. And it's a promise that I would wish you would also have the strength to tell someone you love when you know that person's going to pass away. And the promises that I made to my mother was, I will grieve your death very, very shortly, and afterwards I will celebrate your life for the rest of mine. And at that moment, she opened her eyes, and she looked at me for the last time. The last time. That was the last time I was able to look into her eyes. And she looked into mine, and her eyes said, "Thank you, I think that's a great idea." And then she closed them again. And a few hours later, she passed away. And I was very, very fortunate that I was able to be with her. I was very fortunate that I was able to share this moment with my brother and my father. She had the three most important men in her life with her when she left this world. And that's something for which I'm very, very grateful. And I would really invite you to take on this impulse and to take on this attitude as well, particularly if you're at this phase of life right now where you're having to say goodbye to a loved one, or you maybe just have said goodbye to a loved one. When we grieve, we're not really grieve. I know this is going to polarize, yeah? There's going to be some people who say, God, what a crock of shit that you're tailing there. And I'm prepared for that. If you think this is bullshit, yeah, then just let me know. I'm fine with that. But when we grieve, we're being very egoistic. We're grieving not that the other person's died, but we're grieving that this person is no longer in our life. In our life. We miss them. We feel the pain. But very often the people who've died, they feel less pain. They feel less discomfort. Unfortunately, most people we know die of old age. They've had a good innings. They've had a good time. And if you've been there for them and made the effort for them, then you can have a good conscience and let them go in the faith, in the trust that they're moving on. We're all on a kind of soul trip And I know that sounds very esoterical, and I know that sounds very spiritual. And some people who've known me for years and haven't seen me for years will probably think, "Oh my God, what's happened to him?" But honestly, I'm really happy the way things are now, and I'm really happy the way I am. And I believe we are on a soul journey. And I really believe that this is not the first time that I've been on this planet. This is also not going to be the last time I've been on this planet. And due to coachings that I've taken, I know I've been here before. And I know that the Gary Hayward that was born 1972 and is now 50 years old is just on another part of a journey that he started many, many hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. So at the end of the day, when someone passes away, what we really need to do is just be grateful that we were able to share this chapter of life with such a wonderful person. And that is what we should celebrate. And that is why every year on the 18th of August, I take a day off and I'm on my own. Because then I have the chance to reflect, and then I have the chance to make contact with my mother. And I really feel that she's around here. And I feel that she knows that I'm on the right way, and I feel that she's in agreement with what I do. And she's probably not in agreement all the time about the way I do things, but the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm sure she's absolutely positively in agreement with that. Death at the end of the day is our soul leaving the body, basically. And our body, well, it's not even our body really. It's just lent to us. It's like if you get a rental car when you go on holiday, you know, you have a journey. Yeah, if you fly to Mallorca or you fly to USA and you do a road trip, you fly there, then you have a journey. So you get a rental car, and with this rental car, then you do your journey, and at the end you give it back. So when we're born into a new body. It's not ours. It's just been lent to us, and we've been given another chance to live in the world, and another chance to learn different lessons, and another chance to become spiritually a completely different person than we were the first time. And, you know, we need to take care of this body. We need to look after it. And yeah, I'm not a perfect example of doing that, I have to be honest. Yeah, I could be a lot fitter, just clapping on my belly, could be a lot thinner. And yeah, at 50 years old, I suddenly realised, yeah, it probably will actually make sense to take a bit more care of this shell, this body. Because, like I say, it's not mine. I was born into it. It's been given to me for a purpose. And the body I have, I've been given to fulfill something. And it's only been with the last few years that I've realised what that is. And my purpose in life is to help you live your life the way you want to, and to understand how to do that. And one of the biggest challenges we have is taking control of our thoughts about how we think about things. And particularly on a day like today, 4 years after my mother died, what I always try to do today is think about how I think about death, and think about my purpose in this world, why I'm here, why I've been given this body. It's not my body really, it's like a toolkit, you know. A plumber has his toolkit and he fixes toilets, builds showers, things like that. A doctor has his box and he fixes arms. He's got his plaster of Paris in there or whatever he's got in there, and he's got his needles, syringes, medicines. We've all got our toolkit. And a doctor has his toolkit because he's decided to become a doctor. A mechanic has his spanners and wrenches because he's decided to become a mechanic. A plumber has his plumbing kit because he's decided to be a plumber. You've got your body because you've decided to be... Yeah, what's the answer? What's the answer? If you don't know what the answer is, then contact me, please. And I'll help you find out. I'll help you find out the answer. What is your life's mission? Why are you here? Why have you got this body, which from a certain point starts developing to help you fulfill your life mission? And after a certain point, it starts to deteriorate. And it deteriorates depending on how you feed it and how you think. I'm absolutely convinced that the way we think influences the way we feel and influences our illnesses and our ailments. I mean, if you get really angry about someone, just imagine the last time you got really, really angry about someone. Okay, just think about the last time you got really, really angry about someone, and you feel it in your throat. It's like a hand on your throat, and you don't know what to say, and you'd like to say something, but you don't. Or you feel it in your belly, and it feels really hard, or you get heartburn, or something like that. These are all things you feel in your body. Now, if you can feel those things because you've thought of something bad, you've thought of something you don't like, or you think about and you react to something that somebody says to you in a certain way, then that affects your body. Now, if you do that all the time, then you're going to start getting stomach ulcers, you're going to start getting headaches and all the rest of it. Now, if you can believe that's true, which I hope you do, because I've experienced it, certainly plenty of times. People who get angry a lot, they have high blood pressure, they have a high pulse, and can have heart attacks more often. I'm not saying everybody who has heart attacks is always angry. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that people who are always angry very often do have heart attacks. I'm sure you notice the difference. So think about how you think about things, how you deal with your body, and why are you here? Why are you here? And it's not to get a fantastic job. It's not to earn loads of millions of pounds, dollars, euros, whatever it is you want to earn. It's not having titles like being called sir or doctor or whatever it might be. I've got a book here. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but I'm going to show it. This is a book about my mum that my sister made, and this is just a brilliant book. And she spent hours on this. And Nick, if you're looking at this video, which I hope you will sooner or later at some point, just a big, big thanks for doing this, because this is one of the most important books in my life. And I take it with me on this trip every year. And when I get up here, there's I don't have to make a little break because there's some cool dude on a motorbike going past here. I take this book every year with me, and when I come up here, I'm absolutely sweating like nobody's business, even when it's only 15 degrees, because it's so difficult to get up here, and I'm obviously not as fit as I should be. And I always take a little break, and I take a coffee in a little hut where it's really warm, and I can have my t-shirt in front of the fire so it dries out. And I go through this book, and I read everything that is in this book, every single damn word I read. And do you know what the people say? Do you know what the people say about my mum? And I really hope they're going to say that about me one day. I really, really do. They write things like, she was the most wonderful, kind, loving person that I ever met. They write things like, she was so helpful. She was always there for me. She would always listen. She was so nice. She was so lovely. She was so helpful. She looked after my kids. She was a great godmother. She was a great aunt. She was the best nan that you could ever think of. They write loads of things like that. Nobody writes, I loved the house that Sandra lived in. Nobody writes, I thought she had a wicked car. Nobody writes, isn't she lucky she went on holiday twice a year? Nobody writes anything like that. Nobody. They don't write. There's not one single bloody word in here about anything that my mum had, except for her family. Now, when we die, and it's going to happen to all of us, it's going to happen to me, hopefully later rather than sooner. When we die, we cannot take anything with us. Nothing. I'm really sorry if you find that I'm a bit exaggerating the way I talk, but you notice this topic is so important to me and it gives me so much energy. But think about this. When we die, we can take absolutely nothing with us. Nothing. There's not one single thing we can take with us that we have today. The only things we can take with us are our memories and our experiences and our feelings. That's it. And all of those things we can't buy. Yeah, okay, if you take memories of your trip to Australia, yeah, okay, you bought that. But you know what I mean. You know, if we're watching this video, if you're listening to this podcast, then you know me well enough to know exactly what I mean right now. So if you can't take anything with you, you can't take your house, you can't take your money, you can't take your cars, you can't take your horses or whatever it might be, your jewelry, your gold, your massive plasma TV or whatever it is, you can't take any of that with you. Now, if you can't take anything with you, the big question is, what do you leave behind? What do you leave behind? And what are people going to say about you? When you pass away and you're in a little box and they're about to put you in the ground or about to put you in the fire, what are people going to say? And I've got a rough idea about what I want other people to say about me, but I'm not going to tell you. If you can't wait for my funeral, then please do feel free to tell me what you think about me. I want to help you. And if this impulse has helped you, then please do let me know. Okay? If somebody writes a book about you, what do you want them to write in it? We can't take anything with us. Nothing at all. So the question is, what are you going to leave behind? It's worth having a really good think about that one. I know my mission in life. Do you know yours? Do you know yours? And believe me, we are all here for a reason. We're here to learn. And I don't know why we pass on. My mum was only 70 years old. I say only because 70 years isn't very old. She was only 70 years old. And I thought, shit, that's much too early. And I don't know why we die. And we could discuss about it and we could philosophize about it forever. But what I believe is that we're here to learn something. And when we've learnt this lesson, we pass away and move on. Or we're allowed to stay to teach other people. Okay? But I also think the ones that were taken early, and you maybe know the phrase, only the good die young. If we're taken early, if we're taken before our time, I think it's because we have qualities that are so unbelievably special and so unbelievably important that the universe, life, God, call it whatever you like, needs us so urgently that he just has to take us earlier. That's what I believe. And this belief gives me great comfort, knowing that because of that, my mum went when she did. God needed her. God needed her, and that's why he took her early. And if you've lost someone earlier than you would have hoped, then please take comfort knowing that God probably needed them for a really big thing. Okay? Now, I don't know what you believe in, and like I said, some people call it God. Some people call it the universe. Some people call it life. Call it what you like, but believe in it, and believe that we're here for a reason. If there's one thing that death taught me about life, is that life is a gift, and we need to do something constructive with it. Okay? And it is finite. This time. But we're on a soul journey, and this soul journey will continue forever. The question is, what are you supposed to learn on this part of the journey that you can maybe take to the next part? Okay. I hope that helped you. I know it certainly helped me, so thank you very much for listening. This was a lot longer than I was expecting, almost 25 minutes. I actually wanted to make it a bit shorter. But please feel free to give me your comments on this. I'll put the video up on YouTube probably. I'll definitely put it in my German podcast. And I've got a huge request to all of my English-speaking friends. If you like this, and if this episode helped you, then please do let me know if you'd like to hear more in English. And if that's the case, then maybe I'll start a second podcast just for my English-speaking friends. Of course, all my German friends are allowed to listen too. But the advantage is with an English podcast, all my German friends will probably understand most of it as well. The disadvantage with the German podcast is that my English friends don't understand hardly anything probably. Okay, so I hope you're all okay. And yeah, just think about it. What's your soul journey? What's your mission in life? And if you've lost someone recently, yeah, grieve their death. But don't miss them too much. They wouldn't want to see you suffering. Believe me, they wouldn't want to see you suffering. Celebrate their life. Celebrate the good times. Think about the good times. All that fun you had. All those great chats you had. And yeah, it's always a shame when it's over. But the memory remains. All the best for you, and yeah, the sun is shining. I hope it wasn't too windy. I'm only speaking into this little microphone from my headphones, so I hope it's okay. Wish you a great day. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for all of your support. You know you're meant. If you're watching this now, you know who I mean. If you listen to this now, you know who I mean. So thank you for your continued support, and yeah, all the best and lots of love to you. Okay, take care, and I'll hear and speak to you and see you hopefully soon. Okay, bye.